Hello everyone, welcome to Daily Current Affairs series. Today we will discuss about 17th May current affairs. Myself Sunny Sandeep. Welcome to my channel Gear Up for Group 1 exam. Let us discuss the current affairs. The first one, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, our finance minister G announced a 20 lakh crore package in a trenches manner. In the first trench, she announced that about the MSMEs, that is micro, small and medium enterprises. In the second tranche, she announced about the migrant workers. In third tranche, yesterday she announced about the agriculture farm, contract farming. Here in the fourth tranche, she is announced about the different sectors. That is, we have to break down the worlds. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharamanji announced a set of structural reforms across the sectors as a part of the efforts to boost a sagging economy. Here, what are the different types of sectors? They are coal, minerals, defense, civil aviation, power, space and atomic energy. Here what are the modifications or what are the announcements made by our finance minister Nirmala Sitharamanji in these sectors? One by one we will see. The first one, coal, commercial mining on a revenue sharing basis to be introduced. Here companies in the private sector will be allowed to carry out the exploration. Here, what about the minerals? Composite exploration come, mining come, production regime for the minerals to be announced. Here, 500 mining blocks will be auctioned. What about the defense? A list of weapons and platforms for ban on import will be notified. FDI limit manufacturing under the automatic route raised to from 49% to 74%. Here, civil aviation. Restrictions on utilization of the airspace will be eased so that the flying becomes easy, efficient. Now the only 60% is available, remaining 40% is under control. What about the power? Power departments, utilities and distribution companies in union territory is to be privatized. It will be in the line with the tariff policy which is to be announced. Here space, privatization to be introduced, planetary exploration, outer space travel to be open to the private sector also. Here about the atomic energy, that is research reactor in PPP mode to be set up for the production of medical isotopes. These are the announcements made by our finance minister Nirmala Sitharamanji in different types of sectors. That is government throws open, defense, production and coal sectors. Next one. In previous slide, in previous current affair, we have seen that there is a domestic defense procurement gets separate budget provision. That is, we shall notify a list of weapons and platforms not allowed for import. They will have to be bought in India only. That is in the process of Make in India. After India government in a power, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has announced a Make in India initiative. That means we have to everything make in India only. That is, we have to move towards the Make in India only. That's why a separate budget provision for the domestic capital procurement would help reduce the defense import bill and encourage a domestic manufacture. We have seen that our India is in the third largest country in defense expenditure. That is, the first one USA and second one China and third one India, by surpassing the Saudi Arabia. Last year it is in third stage, now it is in fourth stage. That is in defense expenditure. Here the limit for foreign direct investment in defense through the automatic route also raised from 49% to 74%. Here there are two important words, they are FDI and automatic route. What is the meaning of FDI? That is foreign direct investment. Suppose if any foreign company want to invest in India, they have to get some prior approval from Reserve Bank of India and Government of India. If they don't want to take permissions from these, they can enter from this automatic route. That is the meaning of FDI and automatic route. Here a long pending proposal for the corporatization of the Ordnance Factory Board. We know that it is a board for Army, Air Force and Navy for military equipments. Here she is telling that our finance minister Nirmala Sitharaman is telling that corporatization of the OFB is for autonomy, efficiency and accountability, while clarifying that it would not be a privatized. Here the stress laid on domestic manufacturing is very encouraging, as India today is among the largest imports of in the world defense equipment. The, the list of non-importable items and corporatization of OFB are some landmark steps and will be boost the confidence of the domestic manufacturers. This is about the domestic defense procurement gets another separate budget provision. Next one. India opposes the rejoining RCEP over China concerns. First, what is the meaning of RCEP? That is RCEP. Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. What is this region? That means Asian. What is the meaning of Asian? Association of the Southeast Asian nations. Have almost 10 countries. Asian have membership of 10 countries. That is Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, Singapore, Indonesia, Laos, Vietnam, Brunei, Malaysia and Philippines. These are the 10 countries. Here RCEP, the grouping was to be 10 Asian countries plus India, China, Japan, South Korea, Australia and New Zealand. It would have been the world's largest trade bloc, covering the population of 3.6 billion people, 35% of global GDP and 40% of the global trade. Here there are some silent features about the RCEP, that is Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. It is a 3.6 billion people. A population is covering a 3.6 billion people and a 35% of global GDP, that is, and 40% of global trade. India pulled out of its last week, thus talking of 1.3 billion people market from a bloc. India accounts for almost about 1.6% of global trade currently. India already has free and comprehensive trade agreements with all the RCEP countries except China. China too has a FTA with all of the RCEP countries except India. Here China is involving in that. If India is entered in the RCEP, then China will invest more in India. That's why they get more profit from our India. That's why, because there are almost 130 crore population is there. If China is invested in that in India, that's why they will get more profit. That's why China want to join in India should in RCEP, that is Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. Why India backed out? India's current economic crisis gives the government little room to negotiate trade deals. Here both sections of industry and farmers opposed the deal. The RCEP countries did not agree to address India's concerns. Here there is a India's concern about the RCEP is not joining. Why India is not joining means both sections of industries and farmers will affect if India is joining in RCEP. Here what were the India's concerns? India wanted to a longer time frame for the lower tariffs to kick in under the agreement. India wanted stricter modalities and rules of the origin to prevent the China from dumping goods on India through the RCEP countries. This is the most important. Why? Because China is dumping more their products in India through these RCEP countries. That's why India is backed that. That's why India is not don't want to join in RCEP. India wanted greater access to the RCEP markets for its service sector, especially IT outsourcing and for India's pharmaceuticals. India sought an auto trigger mechanism to stop imports from any country once a certain threshold was reached. China uses a range of trade and non-trade barriers to deny India greater access to its markets. Why? Because in simpler way, why India is not joining in a RCEP? Why China want to India? Why China is insisting that India should enter in RCEP? Simpler. Very simple. If India is joining in RCEP, that means it has to obey the all trade laws and tariff laws. Then what are the member nations in RCEP? They will easily trade with India and another countries also. From apart from these countries, China will get more benefit if India is joining in RCEP. That's why China insisting India to join in the RCEP. Simpler way. Next one, coal mineral reforms to help reduce imports. In the fourth tranche, we have seen that there is a announcement about defense and an announcement about coal and mineral reforms. Here, according to CARE ratings, the coal sector gets a boost as a private sector can now bid a auctions for 50 blocks, enhancing supplies, reducing imports, which is a good for the economy. Here, whenever more manufacturing in our country, it means it will get boost our economy also. That's why enhancing supplies, reducing imports, which is a good for economy. The government also plans to action coal bed methane, that is CBM blocks. Here the government of India big plan to such push coal gasification to replace the natural gas in the fertilizer sector would help the square energy and food security objectives. Here why government of India is planned to push the coal gasification apart from the natural gas. Why? Because to square the energy and food security objectives. However, ammonia produced from coal gasification has a carbon footprint that is 1.8 times higher than that of produced from the conventional processing using natural gas. This could potentially offset the emissions intensity reductions achieved through the investment in renewables. Next one, reforms and agriculture. Yesterday we have seen that there is a third tranche about the agriculture. The first tranche is about MSMEs and second tranche is about migrant workers and third tranche is about agriculture and fourth tranche is about the coal sectors like coal, minerals, atomic energy, space, civil aviation and power. Here the third tranche announced on the Friday focused on long-term issues in the agriculture sector by promising financing to strengthen the infrastructure, build better logistics, ramp up storage capacities, as well as proposing three major governance and administrative reforms that have been in the pipeline for many years. Here in the third tranche, our finance minister Nirmala Sitharamanji noted on the agriculture sector by promising financing strengthen infrastructure. The first one, strengthen infrastructure, and second one, build better logistics and ramp up storage capacities. In India, for agriculture, there is a storage capacities or storage is the main drawback for the India. If storage is there, in agriculture is also will be in a good position. Here there is a act, that is Essential Commodities Act 1955. The act would be amended to deregulate the 6 categories of agriculture food stuffs. They are cereals, pulses, edible oils, oil seeds, potato and onion. Here government want to deregulate these 6 types of agricultural food stuffs. They are cereals, pulses, edible oils, oil seeds, potato and onion. Here the stock limits on these commodities will not be imposed except in times of national calamity or in a famine stage. Here why? Because under the Essentials Commodity Act 1955, that is ESA, Essentials and ECA, Essentials Commodity Act 1955, if suppose a cereals under this act, there is a cap on production, there is a cap on storage, there is a cap on transportation. If you deregulate these 6 agricultural foodstuffs, then we can transport more, we can produce more, we can get some good investments or good profits also from this deregulation of this act. This is in last economic survey, this act is known as anarchotic legislation. Here model APMC Amendment Act, which aims at developing unified state level markets by offering a statewide license, single point levy of market fees, while also allowing private markets, direct marketing and ad hoc wholesale buying and e-trading. Here in some BJP ruled states like Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, they amended this APMC Act. That's why they can transfer this, allowing private markets, direct marketing, ad hoc wholesale buying and e-trading. In other states also, if this amendment comes, this agriculture would be in a better position. Here, a 1 lakh crore agriculture infrastructure fund run by NABARD, that is National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, will help create affordable, financially viable post-harvest management infrastructure at the farm gate and aggregation point. These are the first one, to deregulate the ECA Act, that is Essentials Commodity Act, and amendment of the APMC, and to boost the 1 lakh crore agriculture through to boost the infrastructure through the 1 lakh crore, that is from NABARD, that is National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. Next one, I promised to make a previous paper analysis, that is UPSC Prelims 2019. With reference to the Constitution of India, consider the following statements. No High Court shall have the jurisdiction to declare any central law to be constitutionally invalid. An amendment to the Constitution of India cannot be called into question by the Supreme Court of India. Here the two statements are given. Options are, which of the following given above are correct? Which of the following statements given above are correct? A, 1 only, B, 2 only, both 1 and 2, D, neither 1 nor 2. Here, no court shall have the jurisdiction to declare any central law to be constitutionally invalid. It is wrong. Why? Because High Court is not a subordinate to the Supreme Court. It has some rules. Under Article 227, High Court can declare any central law to be it has some powers. It can declare any central law to be constitutionally invalid. An amendment of Constitution of India. We know that under Article 368 we can amend the Constitution of India. If it is amended from this one, whether we can go to the Supreme Court of India. If you see the Keshavananda Bharati case versus State of Kerala, in that case Supreme Court of India declared that law is invalid. That's why no High Court shall have that jurisdiction to declare any central law is wrong, and amendment to the Constitution of under Article 368 is to be cannot be called into a question by the Supreme Court of India is also wrong. That's why our right option is D, neither 1 nor 2. With this we can conclude our video. Thanks for watching. Like, share and subscribe to my channel. Gear up for Group 1 exam. This is Sunny Sandeep. Take care. Bye bye.